which to be a war.
I didn't even realize I was muted. Yeah, man. Like I haven't got a chance to watch it, but I've definitely been hearing about it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So the U.S. They had actually bombed. They kill. I guess you should say murder, because it was actually an assassination. This guy last Friday, and Saturday they went in with some more bomb. Killed 6 medics. So I mean, it's been real. I mean, and they don't really have an explanation. They're just using that same alibi. The guy opposes a terrorist threat. Pretty much the same thing that George Bush Jr. was actually saying. With the whole weapons of mass destruction type thing. Same type of scenario. So now the US, I don't know if you guys are aware of it, the US is like tightening up security. Pretty much the same thing that was actually done during the 9/11 era. Right after 9/11 is when that Patriot Act was actually passed. Looking through people's personal belongings, and so you actually make people think that there's a dire straight situation, and so they could actually just turn up the monitoring of the people, and at the same time, while they're actually invading foreign countries, essentially they're depriving more Americans of rights. So I mean, basically, that's what's in a nutshell. That's what's going on, man. Shalom, Yashabah.
Shalom.
So yeah, you said I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and we're gonna actually run this on the T-Doc channel, the True Disciples of Christ. They might be pulling you back in the Jorans, Yashabah. I'm serious, man. I mean, they're already sending like thousands of Marines over there. 82nd is already, if I was in, I would have probably, they would have sent me over there. 82nd is a rapid deployment unit. You got to be anywhere in the world within, 24 to 48 hours. So they already sent them over there. So they already building up the troops. You already know this is going to. And so Donald Trump said, I mean, check out how ridiculous this is. He said that, murdering, I'm not even gonna say killing. It was murdering. It was an assassination. Murdering this general would bring peace because he opposed a threat. But that's not what the Iraqis are saying. They're saying that they're gonna retaliate. So people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was something on the news that they don't plan on retaliating against the civilians because they know the civilians have nothing to do with it. It was one of the Iranian diplomats. And then there was something else, the Secretary of State, they're pushing the blame off on him, saying that he urged President Trump to do it because of the amount of intelligence that was there. But as usual, they're not going to release any information to us just yet.
So yeah. I memean, so once again, first of all, giving all praises to the God of our forefathers of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose proper name is Yahweh, by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushua. So we're gonna start this off. We're gonna call this U.S. strikes again because they did. I don't know if you guys are aware. Like I was just telling them, Yashabam, they murdered this general on Friday, and so Saturday the U.S. went and they striked again. So they kill more people. And of course, they didn't just kill the general with that assassination, but that's all they're mentioning because they don't want the public. You know how it go. You was in. They don't want the public that the information that the media puts out is not the true news. You see what I'm saying? That's already censored. So the U.S. strikes again. Air raid in Iraq. So they done an air raid in Iraq. So now Iraq is saying U.S. G.T.F.O. And that's an acronym. Get, Get the out. So Qassem Soleimani assassinations, and then now the U.S. is actually heightened security. So now Bellagio, he came on the other day, in New York, saying that they're going to heighten the security, and same things going on in Los Angeles and a few other cities, around the globe. So, I mean, it's a strategic plan. Like I was telling them, when 9/11 occurred, that's when they justify passing the Patriot Act. And so after that, they could listen into your phone calls. They could tap your phones without a warrant. They search your property. They go through the female's bag in the name of security and safety. So they create a panic and they pass more statutes and so-called laws. So we're going to go ahead into it. 1 Thessalonians 2 and 4. This is what the scripture says. All prophecy. And this right here, this represents Ishur. This represents Ishur. He is portraying himself as the Most High, the God Almighty. He's portraying, he feels as if he has the entire world in his hands. And I don't know if you guys know, America is actually the only remaining superpower. No other nation has the power, the military power. People be talking about China and all these other places. They don't have the power that America has as far as military and technology. Book of 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4 says, who opposeth and exalts himself above all that is called Yah. This man, what did George Bush Jr. say? We're the only remaining superpower. No one can contend with us. What are they gonna do against us? We're the only remaining superpower. So he exalts himself above the Most High. Or that is worship, so that he, as Yah, God, sitteth in the temple. You got people sitting in the temple right now, proclaiming to be the chosen people, sitteth in the temple of Yah, showing himself that he is God. So this man think he's God because he feels as if he has the whole entire world in his hand. I mean, think about it, Craig. Think about this. Why, just logically thinking, right? Why is it that the United States feel as if they could actually dictate who has nuclear weapons?
I mean,
they fire upon other people, but hey, if you do that to America, you're dead wrong.
They don't have a reason to really feel otherwise at the moment. We the only continent that ain't been touched.
Right, gone. There's never been a war on American soil except for a civil war amongst each other. There's never been a war over here. Now, so why did Trump bomb Baghdad and kill the Iranian general? For starters, as I was just stating, the United States remains the world's unchallenged superpower. They're the only remaining superpower. George Bush Jr. was bragging about it when he was in office. The good old red, white, and blue. Now, as you can see, this is vampire, man, because they feed off of everyone else. And other people, these other countries say this. They refer to America as the great Satan. And so, I mean, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And there's a lot of these Euro Gentiles that's actually against what Trump did going in, because guess what? Now, a lot of their sons are going to die because this thing is going to turn into a war, man. You could put, because what Trump did was an act of war. You don't kill a leading general on their own land. So we want to read that. United States.
The United States is the world leader and likely to remain there for decades. It has the greatest soft power in the world by far. The United States still receives far more immigrants each year, 1 million, than any other country in the world. The United States leads the world in high technology, Silicon Valley, finance and business, Wall Street, the movies, Hollywood, and higher education. 17 of the top 20 universities in the world and Shanghai Jiaotong University.
It's a lot, kid. So stop for a second. So although you hear a lot of people talking, just running their mouth, they don't really do the statistics. They talking about how much debt the U.S. sent. They don't really care about that because, as far as they're concerned, they have the strongest military. But they're still leading the world in these things, if I had.
The United States has a first world trade profile, massive exports of consumer and technology goods, and imports of natural resources. It is still the world's leader for FDI at $180 billion, almost twice its nearest competitor. The United States, spending $560 billion a year, has the most powerful military in the world. Its GDP, $16 trillion, is more than twice the size of China's GDP.
See that?
As the first new nation, it has the world's longest functioning democracy in the world, filled with semi-democratic or non-democratic countries. Its stock market, at an all-time high, still reflects American leadership of the global economy.
So anyone that's talking about how much debt the U.S. in, you can shut the heck up because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. They're pretty much dominating the world still. And so Donald Duck, he knows this, man. This is why he pulled the move that he pulled, man. That's why he bombed them. He knows the capacity of the United States military. This is what the U.S. does what it does. But I'm going to hit you with something. The United States is not called the United States in the Bible. It's referred to as Babylon. And we're going to get into that.
Who's going to challenge the United States for global leadership? The Europeans, the Japanese, the Russians? The EU today has 12% unemployment, reaching 26% in Greece and Spain.
So Europe is not doing so good. Okay, Vito?
Almost zero economic growth and a declining population in many of its member states.
Here's one thing that folks need to keep in mind. You don't see an influx of Americans leaving this country. You have all kind of immigrants coming here, flooding in here, fulfilling Bible prophecy. Everyone wants to drink from the wine of the fornication of the harlot. Okay,
The Japanese are suffering from a declining and rapidly aging population, lack of immigration, and Nikkei index that is still more than 20,000 points below the level of 1988, and debt that equals 240% of GNP.
Yeah, the gross national product. Not to
mention a weak economic growth in the last 2 decades.
See, most people that don't really research this, they think Japan is doing so great. They think China is doing so great because they're listening to the media and they're not doing the research themselves. Okay.
And also to add, there are many investors that were victims of ghost cities in those 2 places where there just be building there, but no one ever lives there. It's just there. That's because folks not doing research.
That's crazy, man.
While Russia may have grabbed the headlines for hosting the forthcoming Olympics and Edward Snowden, it's no superpower. Russia has a trade profile of a third world country and a GNP the size of Canada, which is less than 50% of the United States GDP. No soft power, Silicon Valley, Hollywood, Wall Street, or highly rated universities.
See that? The U.S. is killing them in all of that. What about China? Because everyone's always thought, red China. China outnumber us 5 men to 1. Okay, well, let's see.
What about China or India? While both have made great strides in the last several decades, they also suffer from serious problems. China has 650 million people in often impoverished countrysides and GDP capita of $6,001 in 87th place in the world.
So China is not doing so great.
That is barely 12% of the American GDP
See that?
capital.
But they always talk, oh, America got to borrow from China. Apparently, America's doing better than you think. Okay?
China suffers from massive official corruption, one-party communist rule, lack of creativity, and grotesque social stratification. Its massive air, water, and soil pollution problems kill 1.2 Chinese a year.
Look at that.
It will likely be 2050, as its leaders often admit, before China becomes a thoroughly modern country.
Why do you think so many come here, man? Why do you think every city in America has a Chinatown? I'm not being racist. I'm being realist. Every city in America has a Chinatown. You go in the hood, what do you see, man? Ching Lee's Chinese restaurant. And you simple ass blacks in there, you're in there, you eating dogs and cats. Okay.
That's right. As for India, 830 million people, almost 70% of the population live in largely poor countryside, where over 160 million people have no access to water, electricity, or sanitation. India leads the world.
See that? And I see an influx of them in New York. Like, I mean, when you go to the lower class hotels, like the Days Inn and what is it, Econo Lodge? Who be at the door? It'd be one of them, man. It'd be one of them. They come here and they buy that out, man. But the Negro, he does nothing. He just go out and be a consumer and spend his money and give it to everyone. He gives everyone his purchasing power. But this country is not doing great. And so what's really ironic is when these people come here, they make you believe that they're so much better than you. If that's the case, why did you come here? Got it.
India leads the world with the greatest number of illiterate individuals.
Look at that.
35% of all women are illiterate.
See that? But you guys didn't know this. Now the truth is, oh my gosh, where did these guys get this information? Okay.
No less than 25% of the population has no electricity.
See that? But they want you to talk about the Taj Mahal. They teach you, they make you guys think everything about India is the Taj Mahal. You dig?
Yeah, that's wow. That's a lie. Not true at all. India has a weak infrastructure, GDP capita $1,500, at 138th place in the world. That is barely 3% of the American figure, and massive corruption.
So, side note, why do you think right now Trump is saying to all the European nations that don't get in line with him, he's going to put sanctions on them? Why do you think America could do this? Because he know that these countries are suffering economically.
Finally, its rapid growth, 180 million people added to the last decade, bodes poorly for its future.
See that? You get the heck out of India.
As the old political saying goes, you can't beat someone with no one. And right now, there is no one on the horizon that will overtake or even seriously challenge the United States.
So this is why Trump did what he did. We're bummed, and we're the only remaining superpower. We go to war long enough, they're going to start. That's what they're thinking in their mind, guy.
However ailing, for at least the next decade or two.
Con, and you know, that's one of the things that they would teach us, man. When we was running certain covert operations, man, they would teach us to attack the people's water supply and attack their food. Because after a while, they won't be able to function, man. They give up.
Iraq state television said the attack took place along the Taji Road.
Now, this is the attack. This is not talking about the one that when they killed the general. This is what they done Saturday. Trump and them struck again. But you don't really hear about this. They're only talking about the general, but they done killed 6 medics and some more people.
Cons. Side note, so the part of what leaked out is that general was actually collaborating with the surrounding countries to upbuild their own nations.
Con.
More than likely, that's why this took place. But Iraq State Television said the attack took place along Taji Road.
Well, actually, I could tell you why it took place, brother. There's one central bank because Trump them is not, they're not really calling the shots. The banksters are calling the shots.
Yeah, the banksters won't be able to capitalize off of the growth that's coming forth with them working together.
They want control of that central bank in Iran. That's what they want. That's what this war is about. They could put, behind the facade of all this other stuff that's going on. That's the intention, and that's who's calling the shots. Trump is just a puppet on the bankster's strings. All of these people are.
A new U.S. strike targeting the commander of Iraq's Hashad al-Shaabi paramilitary forces has instead killed at least 6 people early on Saturday.
So they was trying to kill Hashad Saturday, but they killed 6 medics. According to Al Jazeera.
That's kind of crazy because I think I was listening to something this morning actually, and they was trying to make it seem like that road is where they killed the general at.
Yeah.
This happened a day after an airstrike attack ordered by U.S. President Donald Trump killed top Iranian general Qassem Soleimani.
See, so you don't hear them talking about this second strike. You just hear them talking about when they killed General Qassem Soleimani.
Al Jazeera reports that Iraq State Television said the attack took place along the Taji Road north of the capital in Baghdad. Hashad al-Shaabi, also known as the Popular Mobilization Forces, PMF, denied that a senior commander was in that convoy. Al Jazeera reports that at least 6 people, including medics, were killed in the latest raid, while 3 other people were critically wounded.
Now, I mean, you know war, Yashabun. You're not supposed to kill medics. That's against the Geneva Convention. You understand what I'm saying? You're supposed to allow them to recover their dead and all that. You're not supposed to kill medics. That's a war crime right there.
That's right. Taji Road, where the attack took place, leads to a base belonging to non-U.S. coalition forces, including British and Italian troops, according to Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
Al Jazeera's Osama bin Javad, reporting from Baghdad. Al Jazeera correspondent added that a group of vehicles
joined the meeting.
was hit.
Come on.
Donald Trump claims this act of war was for peace, but Iraq
did anyone hear him say that when he came on the news and said, "Well, this is about peace"? He's flashing the 6 signs. This is about peace. Taking him out will give us peace. You out of your damn mind. Now Iraq's promised to respond.
The Bible says in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape."
So you know how when a woman's having those labor pains, right? The closer the pains get, the closer the contractions get together, the closer she becomes to her delivery. And then all of a sudden, those contractions just get closer and closer, and the baby's coming. That's what's going on right here. That's what the Lord is saying. It's being turned up and turned up. And then boom, before you know it, man, it's going to be an outright war.
Job 15:21, sounds of terror fill his ears. In his prosperity, the destroyer attacks him.
Yeah, when he's prosperous, when this so-called great nation is prosperous, boom, surprise.
Psalm 35:8, may ruin befall them by surprise. May the net that they hid ensnare them. May they fall into their own destruction.
Come on, this is all Bible prophecy, man.
Psalm 55:15. Let death seize them by surprise. Let them go down to Sheol alive, for evil is with them in their homes.
See that?
Psalm 69:22. May their table become a snare. May it be a retribution and a trap.
Right, that table in the Pentagon is going to become a snare. Because you kill a lot of they're killing a lot of people unjustly. There's a strike right there. That's when they struck on Saturday. This is not when they killed the general. This is when they killed those other people and the medics. This is a strike on Saturday. Here it is again. This image came from the Iraq state television. Said that the attack took place along Taji Road, north of the capital of Baghdad. Just bombing people into the. Now this is what this dude put up, man. Look at this, man. You see what I'm saying? This guy, Alex Lopez, so-called Mexican, posted this, man. So I had to put it in here. This is supposed to represent the United States. This is supposed to be Iran, Russia, China, North Korea. Now, he might be on to something. You see what I'm saying? I mean, because, scripture said that they're going to rise up against him, man. All these nations going to come against her like that. And look, you see what he put there? Mexico would help, but they're on the other side of the fence. He's trying to put some humor in it, didn't he?
Can't blame him, no, man. Like,
damn simpleton. So Iraq tells the United States, get the F out.
Let me get on this. All right. Iran says it is done with the nuclear deal. Iraq's parliament voted to kick U.S. troops out of the country, and Trump is threatening
So Trump said if they make the troops leave, it's going to be hell to pay. Okay.
Proportionate response. On Sunday, just days after the U.S. strike that killed the powerful Iranian military commander Qassem Soleimani, the Trump administration got its first real taste of international pushback. The Iraq parliament voted to oust American troops from the country.
So they want the American troops out of Iraq. Okay.
And Tehran announced that it would pull completely out of its obligations under the 2015 nuclear deal.
Yeah, they had made a deal not to construct any nuclear weapons. Okay.
The pushback didn't come in the form of a targeted strike on a major American outpost or U.S. service member, but combined the two events served as a wake-up call for officials in Washington who for days had tried desperately to manage the fallout of the Soleimani strike. Soleimani strike, with some describing it as an act to advance the cause of peace. It was actually an act of war that Trump administration knew, and Trump administration knew this.
Yeah, Trump said it was for peace. Come on, man. You're gonna kill their top general? Now, Ayatollah Khamenei. Anyone remember Ayatollah Khamenei? He was dealing with the U.S. before, man. Remember Ayatollah Khamenei? They had exiled him to France. Now he came back. When they had sent him to France, they had put the Shah. America handpicked the Shah of Iran, and they put him in power. Then Ayatollah Khamenei came back storming out of France because the Shah was letting the women uncover and all of that. Khamenei came back and restored Islam to that country, man. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, he was praying over the guy's body.
President Donald Trump's truculent response. President Donald Trump's truculent response threatened Iraq with sanctions if it expels U.S. troops. If they do ask to leave, if we don't do it in a very friendly basis, we will charge them sanctions like they've never seen before, ever. It'll make Iranian sanctions look somewhat tame.
See that?
Tehran's announcement about its nuclear program Sunday indicated that the efforts Iran and the United States made in recent months to discuss the possibility of negotiations had all but evaporated, and the Iraqi vote in parliament. Although non-binding, worried officials in the State Department who for days had tried to convince officials in Iraq that backing America's presence in the country was still the best bet for a continued partnership. In response to Sunday's events, Trump threatened disproportionate strikes against Tehran and indicated he would not be constrained by anyone on the Hill. These media posts will serve as notifications to the United States Congress that should Iran strike any U.S. person or target, the United States will quickly and fully strike back, and perhaps in a disproportionate manner. Such legal notice is not required, but is given nevertheless. The president raged on Twitter on Sunday afternoon. Sunday's maelstrom and new developments were not entirely unexpected by Trump's national security brass or his war planners. Shortly before he ordered Thursday's fateful, potentially world-altering attack, the president was briefed on a menu of possible consequences. If Soleimani was slain according to Soleimani was slain according to two administration officials, one of the listed potential consequences was attacks on U.S. military personnel abroad, and another was the Iranian regime deciding to amp up its nuclear program.
See that?
About to turn up. For senior Iraq officials who have worked closely with the United States, including Prime Minister Adi Abdul-Mahdi, fears that their country will become the proxy battleground for a war between the U.S. and Iran, have combined with a sense of betrayal by their American allies.
See that? They say America betrayed them, man.
Last week, as Abdul-Mahdi worked to calm an increasingly explosive confrontation, he turned to Soleimani. I'm gonna get that. Soleimani for help. An American contractor had been killed by a militia, Kataib Hezbollah, that is part of the Iraqi government's forces, but which answered to Soleimani. Then came retaliatory U.S. airstrikes against Kataib Hezbollah, killing at least 24 people. The militia supporters responded by trying to batter their way into the fortress like U.S. embassy compound and Baghdad's green zone. The Iraqis had known that Soleimani could make the violence worse, or he could reign in the many Iraqi militias over which he held de facto command and thus eased the tensions.
De facto command.
When the embassy siege ended, Abdul-Mahdi got a phone call from Trump thanking his government. And Trump asked him to play the mediator's role between the U.S. and Iran. But Trump already had ordered the drones and...
Yeah, so the Mahdi is like their Christ. You see how we believe in Hamashiach? The Mahdi, the great Mahdi, is who the Muslims wait. There you go, Soleimani, right there. Whoa. So it's an act of war. How many troops will die because of the act that Trump did? You see, these people love this guy, man. I saw him crying and all of that, burning American flags and all of that. And so, you know, a lot of American females are having protests saying they don't want a war. You know why? Because they know a lot of their sons is likely to die as a result of this for nothing, for something that the banksters want.
Trump claims he ordered the hit to stop a major attack on Americans, but Abdul-Mahdi told Iraq's parliament Sunday, I was supposed to meet Soleimani the day he was killed. He had come to deliver a message from Iran, responding to the message we delivered from Saudi Arabia to Iran.
See that? Dirty game, man. There's the Ayatollah right there, Ayatollah Khomeini.
Weeps over slain general's casket. Weeping amid wails from a crowd of at least hundreds of thousands of mourners. Iran's supreme leader on Monday prayed over the remains of a top Iranian general killed in a U.S. airstrike in Baghdad, an attack that drastically raised tensions between Tehran and Washington.
So they love this guy, man. They say hundreds of thousands of people backing this dude.
Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah
Ali Khamenei
prayed over the casket of Iranian Revolutionary Guard General Qassem Soleimani and others slain in the attack.
See, they don't mention the other people that were slain. They just mention the general.
Attack Khamenei, who had a close relationship with Soleimani, wept at one point during the traditional Muslim prayers for the dead. Soleimani's replacement was already vowed to take revenge. In addition, Tehran has abandoned the remaining limits of its 2015 nuclear deal with world powers in response to the slaying. And in Iraq, the parliament has called for the expulsion of all American troops from Iraqi soil.
I want them out. I want the troops out, man.
U.S. threatens European companies with sanctions after Iran deal pullout. Qassem Soleimani killed in a U.S. airstrike near Baghdad. Donald Trump is prepared to impose sanctions on European companies that do business in Iran.
So he's trying to say, I don't want no European country dealing with Iran. You see that? And he knows, this is why I put what I put earlier to show you that those companies are not economically in a position that they could actually thrive if America put sanctions on them. Trump knows this, man. Okay.
Iran, following his withdrawal of the U.S. from the international nuclear deal, his administration reiterated on Sunday. Is this an excuse to pass another manipulation act like the Patriotic Act? Remember 9/11? Then suddenly the government can listen to your phone calls and conduct illegal searches in the name of safety and security. New York City police to protect key locations, while Los Angeles asked residents to say something if you see something. U.S. kills Iranian general in Baghdad, drone strike, live updates. Law enforcement agencies in several major U.S. cities have issued alerts advising residents to be vigilant in the wake of the U.S. strike against Iran's top general, as officials said they were stepping up security efforts at sensitive locations. Chad Wolf, acting secretary of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, said his agency was working with law enforcement officials and others across the country and was ready to respond to any threats, though none had.
So do you guys not think this is going to affect you? They're just going to affect you. They're going to heighten security everywhere. This is going to be used as a catalyst to heighten security. Okay, in the name of safety. And so the people that can't see behind the facade of the deception, oh yeah, and we need to be safe. See, you create a threat, and then you make the people feel a need to be safe and secure.
In New York City, Mayor Bill de Blasio announced he was consulting with city officials about steps the police department would take to protect key locations. from any attempt by Iran or its terrorist allies to retaliate against America. The city will be vigilant against this threat for a long time to come, de Blasio tweeted. The New York Police Commissioner Demont Shea added, New York NYPD continues to closely monitor the events in Iran and across the region for any further developments. While there are no specific credible threats to NYC, we've deployed additional resources to key locations. As always, if you see something, say something.
Mm-hmm.
Los Angeles, home to a sizable
They got
US.
that on just about all the damn trains in the city, man. If you see something, say something.
Los Angeles, homes to a sizable. The communication was followed by a second Los Angeles Police Department message posted on Twitter that also emphasized there was no current threat. While there is no credible threat to Los Angeles, the LAPD is monitoring the events developing in Iran. We will continue to communicate with state, local, federal, and international law enforcement partners regarding any significant intel that may develop. The warning came as the U.S. State Department urged its U.S. citizens to leave Iraq immediately. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, which was attacked by Iran-backed militiamen and other protesters earlier this week, is closed and all consular services have been suspended. The intervention of domestic law enforcement comes amid newly rising tension over foreign-backed terrorism. In November, a sleeper agent of Hezbollah, the Iran-backed Lebanese group listed by U.S. authorities as a foreign terrorist organization, was sentenced to 40 years in prison by a federal court over plans to conduct terrorist attacks around New York. Prosecutors claim that Ali Qurani was recruited, trained, and deployed by Hezbollah's Islamic Jihad organization and has spent years conducting surveillance on the city's critical infrastructure, federal buildings, international airports, and even daycare centers. The FBI Assistant Director William F. Sweeney Jr. said Qurani's arrest was a reminder to us all that New York City and its surrounding areas remain primary targets for those looking to conduct a violent attack against our way of life. America faces an epic choice in the coming year, and the results will define the country for a generation. These are perilous.
Yeah, perilous.
Perilous
like
times.
The scriptures say.
Over the last 3 years, much of what the Guardian holds dear has been threatened. Democracy, civility, truth. This U.S. administration is establishing new norms of behavior. Anger and cruelty disfigure public discourse, and lying is commonplace. Truth is being chased away, but with your help, we can continue to put it center stage. It will be a defining year, and we're asking for your help as we prepare for 2020. Isaiah 26. And on that day, the dwellers of this coastland will say, see what has happened to our source of hope, those to whom we fled for help and deliverance from the king of Azria. How then can we escape? Isaiah 21:3. Therefore my body is filled with anguish. Pain grips me like the pains of a woman in labor. I am bewildered to hear. I am dismayed to see. Rampant disinformation, partisans, news sources, and social media's tsunami of fake news is no basis on which to inform the American public in 2020.
Okay.
The need for a robust, independent press has never been greater, and with your help, we at TDOC, True Disciples of Christ, can continue to provide fact-based reporting that offers public scrutiny and oversight. Our journalism is free and open for all, but it's made possible thanks to the support we receive from listeners like you across America in all 50 states.
The ruling elite.
That's their agents. Jacob Rothschild, Queen Elizabeth II.
That's who's calling the shots right here. These people call the shots, man. Trump and these guys don't call the shots, man. These are the real power structures, man. These banksters, the Illuministic families. Jacob Rothschild, Queen Elizabeth II, David Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger. They're descendants. George Soros. They're calling the shots. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I got you on that. Real power is unelected. Politicians change, but the power structure does not. The network, a global Anglophile financial elite power structure, operates behind the scenes for its own benefit without ever consulting those who are affected by its decisions.
Right. These people that you saw on the screen and their descendants, the top 13 families of the Illuminati. That's who's calling all the wars. That's who financed both sides. And they want that central bank in Iran.
The network is composed of individuals who prefer
and anonymity. They secrecy, in other words.
Gotcha. They are satisfied to possess the reality rather than the appearance of power. This approach of secretly exercising power is common throughout history because it protects the conspirators or the conspirators from the consequences of their actions.
Right. So they make Donald Trump. You dropped the bomb. We don't have anything to do with it, but they're calling the shots from behind the scenes.
A primary tactic for directing public opinion and government policy is to place willing servants in leadership positions.
Yeah, like a Donald Trump. You understand? Okay.
Media, universities, government, foundations, etc. If there's ever a major backlash against a given policy, the servant can be replaced. This leads both the institution and the individual who actually direct its power unharmed. Historically, those who establish sophisticated systems of domination are not only highly intelligent, they are supremely deceptive and ruthless. They completely ignore the ethical barriers that govern a normal human being's behavior. They do not believe that the moral and legislative laws which others are expected to abide by apply to them. Joseph Plummer, in his book, Tragedy and Hope 101, it took some time before I fully realized that the United States sees little need for diplomacy. Power is enough. Only the weak rely on diplomacy. The Roman Empire had no need for diplomacy, nor does the United States. Boutros Boutros-Ghali, Secretary General of the United Nations from January 1992 to December 1996.
They still believe that too.
Axis of evil, United States, United Kingdom, UK, and Israel. Pious Saudi Arabia, France, Canada, Australia. The USA and its partners, the UK and Israel, have become the new axis of evil, a new evil empire. Preston James and Mike Harris, 2015. If we're honest about who is actually murdering and abusing people, it is the US, Israel, and the UK.
See that?
There's your axis of evil. Paul Craig Roberts, 2008. We're directly responsible for tens of thousands of dead people, wounded people, and millions of displaced people. The underlying reason is that we in the UK are hand in glove with the axis of evil, which is Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the USA. UK University Professor Rodney Shakespeare, 2016.
Mm-hmm. The deep state.
Deep state. The term deep state describes a system composed of high-level elements within the intelligence services, military, security, judiciary, and organized crime. It is a hybrid association of elements of government and parts of top-level finance and industry that is effectively able to govern the United States without reference to the consent of the governed as expressed through formal political process. The screen is cut off.
Former congressional staff member Mike Logren.
I'm just changing my view right quick so
All right.
it's not cut off.
Read that. I'll be right back in a second.
The deep state refers to a parallel secret government organized by intelligence security apparatus, financed by drugs, and engaging in illicit violence to protect the status and interests of the military against threats from intellectuals, religious groups, and occasionally the constitutional government. The deep state refers to the wider interference in America between the public and the constitutionally established state, and the deep forces behind it of wealth, power, and violence outside the government. You might call it the back door of the public state, giving access to dark forces outside the law. Peter Dale Scott. The deep state consists of individuals across all elements within and external to the government, who in the aggregate are able to leverage government capabilities while violating with impugning all constitutional checks and balances. Related to this is the manner of funding and reach, from New York banks to Texas Energy to global drugs. There's a criminal network that is above the law and above the state. Daniel.
Transactional financial elite.
Transnational financial elite. There's a transnational power elite which has centralized the control of global capital around the world. This global power elite, less than 400 individuals, are at the core of policy planning, non-governmental networks that manage, facilitate, and protect the continued concentration of global capital. They are the activist core of the transitional capitalist class, TCC, 1% of the world's wealthy people.
These are banksters, man. These are not government.
The TCC cannot find outlets that profitably reinvest the trillions of dollars that it has accumulated. In recent years, it has turned to wild financial speculation and global casino, raiding and sacking of public budgets, war making, and extensions of systems of social control and repression to sustain accumulation and contain the real or potential rebellion of the poor and the marginalized. The global power elites of the TCC, transitional capitalist class, make every effort to protect their interests through global organizations like the World Bank, World Trade Organization, International Monetary Fund, the G20, G7, World Economic Forum, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg Group, Bank for International Settlements, and other transitional associations. Within this system, national states become little more than population containment zones, and the real power lies with the decision makers who control global capital. Peter Phillips in his book, Giants. The history of the group of 30 goes back to Rockefeller Foundation, which provided the organization's initial funding. The Rockefeller Foundation represents the interests of highly centralized corporate and financial power. The group of 30, originally named the Consultative Group on International Economic and Monetary Affairs, was to function as a think tank, lobby, and a consensus building institution for the global elites. What makes the G30 and its recommendations so important is not only the fact that they are taken seriously by policymakers and market participants, but that the very individuals making the recommendations are in positions of power to directly implement or support those same recommendations. The G30 can be thought above all as an exclusive club of financial crisis kingpins. And it is a club that will continue to play a significant and not altogether helpful role in global financial management for years to come. Andrew Gavin Marshall, 2013. 17 asset management firms, each with an excess of $1 trillion of investment capital under management, have a total capital under management and access of 41 trillion. These firms are giants of international capitalism. The wealth they manage comes from many thousands of millionaires, billionaires, and corporations who allow asset management firms to invest their money in the market with expectation of above average returns on their capital. They are the central institutions of the financial capital that powers the global economic system. Western governments and international policy bodies tend to work in the interest of these financial giants to protect the free flow of capital investments and ensure debt collection everywhere in the world. The top asset management companies are the most super connected firms in the world. Peter Phillips in his book, Giants. Isaiah 47:11. Disaster will come upon you. You will not know how to charm it away. A calamity will befall you that you will be unable to ward off. Devastation will happen to you suddenly and unexpectedly.
That's the Lord talking to these globe controllers, the global elite.
Jeremiah 6:14. They have dressed the wound of my people with very little care, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace at all.
Come on.
Jeremiah 8:11. They dress the wounds of the daughter of my people with very little care, saying, peace, peace, there is no peace, when there is no peace. Jeremiah 14:19. You have rejected Judah completely. Do you despise Zion? Why have you stricken us so that we are beyond healing? We hope for peace, but no good has come. And for the time of healing, but there was only terror.
You're doing this to Jake right today, man. Big brother is watching you. Believe that.
There's a transnational ruling class, a superclass, that agrees on establishing a world government. The middle class is targeted for elimination because most of the world has no middle class. And to fully integrate and internationalize a middle class would require industrialization and development in Africa and certain places in Asia and Latin America.
So in other words, it's just going to be the poor and the rich, and the poor is going to be slaves.
The goal of a superclass is not to lose their wealth and power to a transitional middle class, but rather to extinguish the notion of a middle class and to transnationalize a lower class, uneducated, labor-oriented class through which they will secure ultimate wealth and power.
Yeah, that's why you people go and work for them, man. You go and work for these people. Go ahead.
Andrew Gavin Marshall, The Global Economic Crisis, the Great Depression of the 21st century. The technotronic era involves the gradual appearance of a more controlled society. Such a society would be dominated by an elite, unrestrained by traditional values. Soon it will be possible to exert almost continuous surveillance over every city and maintain up-to-date complete files containing even the most personal information about the citizen.
Mm-hmm. They're doing it. Shame. Yeah, you need to cover your damn face.
These files will be subject to instantaneous retrieval by the authorities.
They're already doing that. You guys are always, you're volunteering for it. They're already, coming out with the One World ID and all of that. The ID has everything on it, man.
Okay. Z&B, in his 1970 book, Between Two Ages, America's Role in the Technotronic Era, If the New World Order types had made some kindness, some humanity, some morality, perhaps one world government is what we need. But mainly, these are nasty people with a lust for money and a ruthless disregard for human suffering. Sadly, this is all made possible by mainstream media that is owned and controlled by these very forces. Chris Pratt from his movie Deception.
Mm-hmm.
The message the government and banksters rely to you is war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength.
That's what they want you to believe. There you go.
Isaiah,
There you go.
for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
Yeah, the congregation is a nation of Yasha Allah. And the sides of the north is talking about in North America.
Daniel 11:36. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself.
So he's doing according to his will right now. He's exalted himself. Okay.
And magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished.
That indignation is righteous anger. Hamashiach Yahweh Shah is going to bring that, and it's going to be justified.
For that is determined shall be done.
We talked about all of these 4 types of power, man. Economic, military, political. America's ruling in all stages. But they're talking about how much debt America's in. The great Satan is ruling the world. That's the area they bombed when they killed that general.
Exodus 15:9 and 10.
These are the masterminds behind it right here. The money makers.
The enemy said, I will pursue you. I will overtake you. I will divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword. My hand shall destroy them.
There you go.
Matthew 23:33.
The den of vipers.
Ye serpents, ye generations of vipers, ye generation of vipers, how can ye escape the damnation of hell?
They're not going to escape. Judgment is coming, man. This is their kingdom. They're in the kingdom of heaven right now.
Jeremiah 8:11. They dress the wounds of the daughter of my people with very little care, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace.
It's prophecy right here. This is Bible prophecy. This is what's coming to. This is what's going to happen when Hamashiach Yahweh Shah returns, man. Okay.
Isaiah 47:11.
But these are people that these demons have done. They done blew people up. This is what happens when you go in and you kill a general. But they don't show you this part. They won't show you this stuff. These are bodies that's actually been burned to a crisp from bombs that they dropped.
But disaster will come upon you. You'll not know how to charm it away. A calamity will befall you that you will be unable to ward off. Devastation will happen to you suddenly and unexpectedly. Jeremiah 50:9. For I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon.
So the Lord is going to bring Russia and these other nations against this nation, man, according to the Bible. Not according to T-Dot, but according to the Bible. America is Babylon when you read the Bible. Read Isaiah, the 13th chapter. Read the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and 51.
Revelation 18:18. And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city?
That's what these nations are going to say, her allies.
Revelation 16:19. The great city was split into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations collapsed. And God remembered Babylon the Great and gave her the cup of the wine of the fury of his own wrath.
So that's what's going to happen to Hollywood. That's what's going to happen with Babylon, man. The Lord's going to do this, according to the Bible.
Revelation 18:9. Then the kings of the earth who committed sexual immorality and lived in luxury with her will weep and wail at the sight of the smoke rising from the fire that consumes her.
Yeah, all these nations, all of her allies.
For world peace, Israel must be destroyed.
They're carrying around songs like that.
Revelations 18:10. In fear of her torment, they will stand at a distance and cry out, woe, woe to the great city.
Yeah, woe is destruction. Woe, destruction, destruction.
The mighty city of Babylon. For in a single hour, your judgment has come.
But let me, this is not talking about ancient Babylon, man. This is talking about a modern Babylon. Revelations 11:8. He's talking about a modern Babylon. New World Order. It's embalming.
Revelations 18:16, saying, woe, woe to the great city, clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls.
You know who they're talking about, man.
Revelations 18:9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her.
So a lot of these nations going to be crying when they see her burning, man.
When they shall see the smoke of her burning.
They're going to be lamenting. We're already in hell, man.
Ezekiel 27:30. They will raise their voices for you and cry out bitterly. They will throw dust on their heads and roll in ashes.
Judgment, man. People laughing and having fun now. Wait until this thing comes down, man.
Matthew 24:8-10 and verse 14. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
So that's the only thing that's holding this back, man. All nations haven't gotten this word yet. Once this war go to all nations, Hamashiach Yahweh Shah is coming back. And it's going to look like that. It's going to look like that. All the people that was laughing and having fun and took it as a joke and was making mockery of the word of the Most High, they're going to get caught up like that. They're going to get caught up in that thermonuclear destruction.
End times prophecy, current events in the Middle East. Revelations 21:8. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
See that? That's the second death right there.
In time. So is that first death the separation from the Most High?
Well, I mean, the first death, you see how people are in the earth right now in the graves? This is talking about after the resurrection. When we put the death the next time. Like those people, when the scriptures talk about graves coming open, see that?
There's a way that seems right to a man, in the end leads to death.
That's what Jake be doing. That Jake does this all day, every day. Jake does this all day, every day. He follows everyone except for Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah.
And follow those dang on feelings.
Come.
Difficult times will come. This looks like scripture. What book is this?
It's Peter's is in Peter's. Similar, it's also in Titus. It's in the book of Peter's.
So it's 1st or 2nd Peter's chapter 3. But realize this, that in the last days, difficult times will come.
Yeah, they changed it. In the King James version, it's going to read perilous times will come.
Come. For men will be lovers of self, lovers of money.
That's going on right now.
Boastful, arrogant, revilers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, irreconcilable, malicious, gossips, without self-control, brutal, haters of good, treacherous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, or Yah.
Come.
Holding to a form of godliness, although they have denied its power.
Come.
Avoid such men as these.
See that? Gotta avoid them. There you go. See, these people, they love this dude, man. They love this dude. They mourning and swearing revenge.
The prophets talk about the U.S. by using its most recognizable monument, the Statue of Liberty.
They getting ready for war, aren't they? Again, that's where they killed them at. The airstrike in Baghdad.
The day of the Lord is a biblical term and theme used in both the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament, as the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and the terrible day.
Con. 2 Peter 3 verse 10. And the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night.
Con. Zephaniah 3 and 8. Therefore wait for me, declares the Lord, for the day when I rise up as a witness indeed. My decision.
So Hamashiach Yahweh Shah is going to do this. He said to wait on him.
My decision is to gather nations, to assemble kingdoms, to pour out on them my indignation,
my righteous anger,
all my burning anger, for all the earth will be devoured by the fire of my zeal. 2 Peter 3 and 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away.
Stop. Because the average Jake, he'll read that and he think the Most High is talking about his own heaven. That's not what that's talking about. That's talking about this man's rulership. Because right now they are in heaven. Like real quick, can someone get the book of Isaiah, the 34th chapter? So just prove this so they could get an understanding of what's going on here. He's talking about the heaven of Esau. Ishur, wasted away is he. Isaiah 34, verse 1. This is talking about their heaven, their rulership. That's what heaven is rulership. It's having the things you want. It's being empowered. Okay.
Isaiah 34, verse 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations.
See that? The Most High is going to judge all these nations with righteous anger. Read on.
And his fury is upon all their armies.
See that?
Ye have utterly destroyed them. Ye have delivered them to the slaughter. Verse 3. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood.
So dead bodies going to be laying all over the earth. Read on.
Verse 4, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved.
Okay, so watch this. It says all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved. Now you got to be stupid if you think the Most High is talking about killing angels in all his own heaven. It's not talking about that. It's talking about this man's rulership, this man's power. Read on.
And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from
So the host is their armies. So the Lord said all of their armies are going to be destroyed like a leaf that falls from a tree. Read on.
And as a falling fig from the fig tree. Verse 5, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven.
Okay, so he said his sword is going to be bathed in heaven. This is why when you read the book of Revelations, Christ is coming back with a bloody garment on. Why? Because he's coming back for war. He's not coming back for no peace. He's seen with a bloody garment and a sword. This prophecy is overlaid right there in the book of Revelations and in Isaiah. Now he's going to tell you whose heaven his sword's going to be bathed in. They're using a Greek word. They're trying to throw you off. They're using a Greek word, idumia, which actually means Edom, meaning red. Today you call them the Euro Gentiles. Read on.
Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea.
Yeah, Idumea is a Greek word for Edomites. Esau.
And upon the people of my curse to judge.
Upon the people of my curse.
Side note, quick question. Why would they use a Greek word in text that has nothing to do with Greek at all?
Trying to throw you off, man. They put some things in that Bible to try and throw you off, man. Why would they leave Idumea then? You see what I'm saying? Instead of saying Esau. Because they thought, oh, well, Jack, he won't never figure that out. Put Idumea there and throw you off. People, they just read it. Oh, what the hell is this word? They just look up. They won't go and look it up. Same thing, mean Esau. Go and look it up for yourself. Idumea.
Verse 6, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood and is made fat with fatness and with the blood of lambs and goats and the fat of the kidneys of rams.
That's it on that, man. We can go back to this. I just wanted to show them who it was coming down on and whose heaven's actually going to be destroyed. Most High is not talking about destroying his own heaven. Heaven is this world rulership. Book of Job 9:24 says is the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. Who's ruling the earth, Terrence? He can't say anything. He's cold. Who's ruling the earth, Terrence?
Satan.
Is Africa ruling the world?
The devil.
All right. That's a vague answer, but we'll take that. You know how people don't like to say that, man. China ruling the world? Africa ruling the world? Who's ruling the world, man? It's rhetorical, man. Go ahead, man.
2 Peter verse 3 and 10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, and in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise.
Boom! Thermonuclear destruction.
And the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
So it's letting you know what it's talking about. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. That's talking about that thermonuclear destruction. You know?
And the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Revelations 3:3. Remember then what you have received and heard. Keep it and repent. If you do not wake up, I will come like a thief in the night, and you will not know the hour when I will come upon you.
A lot of Jake's going to get caught up, man. This is why 2/3 of our people are not going to make it.
Revelation 6:14. The sky recedeth like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from its place.
There he is. Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Revelation 16:15.
Behold, I am coming like a thief. Blessed is the one who remains awake and clothed, so that he will not go naked and let his shame be exposed.
That's the image that's explained. You want to know where this image come from? Read the book of Revelations 1 and 14. So-called black man with white woolly hair and eyes was red like flames.
Is he
was a wine bottle.
Is he talking about being physically clothed?
No, that was allegorical. That means your mind not being in the right place. That means you're not clothed in this truth.
Oh, okay.
Come on. So that's it, man. I didn't see the brother Richard, but hey, it is what it is, man. Anyone got anything before we close it out?
No, we just need to, like you've always said, need to walk circumspectively, or as it is written, vigilant and sober at all times, because things are always going on. He's walking around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Real subtle.
I see you munching on something. I'm actually fasting, man.
I got one of those coming up on Thursday and Friday.
I'm trying to clench my body, man. Like,
how long you go?
I'm just probably gonna do a couple days or something, man. Yeah. Just trying to do a water fast. Might do like a green fast or something. I be doing those fasts like Dr. Sabi, but it clear my system up. Even if you're vegan, you still should fast at some point.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Staying on coming off of a fast, drinking that turmeric milk. Wow. Man.
Never even heard of that, man. I gotta look into that.
Gotcha. I made about 2 gallons this morning. That stuff will knock out colds. Ain't gonna clear out aches and pains.
You said milk?
Yeah, well, you make it.
What is it made out of? I can't drink milk. Like I'm totally allergic to
turmeric milk. Yeah, it's made from turmeric. So you can use
turmeric good for you too. Like I just never looked into it.
Yeah, I got some of that under the cupboard. I haven't I want to completely detox and I'm just like kind of like fasting with herbs and water. So I drank the drink like this morning, like it had like cucumbers in it, celery, what else? Parsley, ginger, lime.
Oh yeah, you want it.
Yeah.
Yep. Keep all the greens, all the similar colors together, and your body absorb it. Does absorb it better. But like
it helps to flush out your kidney and yeah, with that green fast, especially Then I drink a little bit of dandelion tea.
Oh yeah, you want it.
What's the site that instead of going on Google, the private site, I could go on and look up things?
Oh, DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo.
Yeah. It doesn't track you.
Yeah, so there's no history.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You see that when you go on Google, like you buy something, then the damn thing flash up to the side, try and get you to buy it because they're tracking you. Even when you send an email, they can read those emails. That's why I was telling everybody to use that private email that I was sending them, because they could use that like that. Even that Proton thing, I found out you could get in the back door of that. That's why I switched to the one that I switched to. That's out of Germany, so the U.S. don't really have any say so over that. Yeah, like a lot of these other things, man, you can still get them through the back door. So, but
you created that off DuckDuckGo?
No, it's totally different.
Totally different. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you could go there and create an account. If you click on that email that I sent, you create an account. You don't have to pay for it, but I paid for my service because I wanted like bigger space.
Yeah, and DuckDuckGo is just a search engine.
Right.
You do like research and check out private and non-private, secure and unsecure sites without you being tracked specifically.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, they track everything, man. So you got to get someone they haven't bought out. There used to be a few more, man. They bought them out. They put a little fear on them, and yo, man, they just give up information. Because they literally could go, you know, when you send these emails like Yahoo and Google, they read that. They read what you have in the email.
And that's crazy because I swear, like, I mean, well, not swear, but I remember one time I was having a conversation with one of my boys, and something that we was talking about, I had to do with fishing. And next thing I know, I'm seeing like all kinds of fishing products popping up on my feed. I'm like, what? That's crazy, man. Like, yeah, they definitely on it, man. Yeah, they tapping into every last single, you know, source they can, man. Like, we ain't safe nowhere.
Yeah, if you learn more about how like your cell phone and Android or Apple works, you can set it up to where each time an app needs permission, you can, you know, allow it or not, and that'll cut down on those advertisements and stuff like that. Because if you just give them full access to everything without your permission, then that's one way that you know, they're able to advertise, you know, to you like that.
Yeah.
But what I was munching on was some walnut meat, kind of looks like ground beef, some stewed chickpeas, and like a romaine lettuce salad. Can I? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I had some tortillas that I wrapped that up in and whatnot.
I just had some salad too, man, but I had it with some salmon, some biscuits.
Yeah, it's all good, but everybody just, you know, stay up. And
I don't want to see no food, man.
You're going through it over there, man.
I'm not even really that hungry for real, man. Like I've been trying to like drink a gallon of water, like pretty close to it. But yeah.
Oh, man. So yesterday I didn't eat anything till like 10 or 11:30. I was up since 4:30, and you know, I was out there in the cold, and I got, you know, got to the house. I fell asleep in the garage. I fell asleep on the floor with my coat on, and woke up like, dang, you know, it was wild. I'm good now. Let me go ahead and let you go then. Anybody else got?
Anyone else got anything? Tony Montana, you got anything? Making a lot of noise over there.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was kind of doing some last minute shopping, and I was listening to everything.
Parking in someone's car.
Yeah, just got
it's dark over there. You can't see nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, because I'm also walking a little piece to the mailbox, and you know,
right.
Yeah,
that green looks like MVGs, man, like night vision goggles, man.
Yeah, I just got off work, and you know, I work on the field, but I'm trying to hurry up and quit. You know, I just got to get things right first. Still working on it. Yeah, but
I put a link to a secure phone in there for people that's like really interested in it.
Oh yeah,
I see that.
Secured smartphone. Oh. Yeah. I don't really like saying too much on YouTube, man.
Great.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely do appreciate that though.
But all right, man, I guess we could bring this to an end. What just happened to my computer, man? Just putting it in there. It's like they want to freeze up my screen, man. Yeah,
glad to be here.
But check out that DuckDuckGo, brother. That's all I really. put it on your cell also.
Yeah.
You could use it to search on your cell instead of using Google.
I had seen you you posted that in a video, one of your older videos, but I couldn't find it. You got so many videos.
Yeah. I was
man.
telling people like a few months ago how to kind of go dark. That's the name of the video. How to go dark. Yeah.
Go dark. I got you.
Yeah. But all right, man, I just posted the link in the room to that DuckDuckGo also.
Oh.
All right, well, you guys take care. Shalom.
Peace and love, fellas.
Hey, shalom.
Peace.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Long.
Shalom.